Like, I really want people to fucking win. I really want it. Nobody's taken from me. Everyone's winnings don't come from me. I'm gonna get mine. You know, if you're great, you should only be cheering for people. There's no time for envy. There's no time for jealousy. There's no time for gossiping at dinner, tearing down somebody that's winning. I'm cheering for fuckers in my own industry, other ad agency. If they're good enough, they're good enough. Like, I'm cheering for people because nobody's taking a penny or a smile out of my pocket. And so that's who the fuck I am. Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I admire so much of what Sean does, and this, you know, that, you know, Complex Con and what I did with K-Swiss when I started getting a little more, you know, collaborative, and then with Reebok is, I've got something brewing with VeeFriends and Reebok coming out later this year, and we did a preview to that with Sean, and like, I mean, you know this, Nick, because you guys are partners and real friends, like, there's not a single person on here that, if they have the luxury of meeting this man in real life, doesn't go from admiration for his creative superpowers to deep, deep appreciation for the humanity and kindness and love that comes out of this man's soul. And like, you know, actually 2023 for me is like a real focus to, I'm like thinking a lot more about efficiency in my travel and just in general, all to open up more time for more friendships, you know, between family and work. That's just kind of how I roll. But I want to really open up more room for friendships, as Sean knows, as you know, Nick, between DM or texting. I'm pretty good like that, right? I check in, I want to support, but my actual hours, so many people, like for example, even on this Spaces right now, so many people don't realize that I'm running a 2,000 person company and that VaynerX is doing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. That by itself is a 15-hour job. Then there's VeeFriends, then there's the GaryVee thing, then there's the investor thing, then there's like actually still caring about wine techs and wine library for my dad. So, but I'm so focused on opening up room to expand on my friendships. I'm going out to, you know, right after I'm here, I'm going out to another dinner with a couple that I would have 40 times I tried to have dinner with in the last 2 years, 0 dinners. Now I'm doing it tonight. So Sean is one of those people that I have great love for. You're the same, Nick, where it's like real for business friendship, real, you know, I call them acquaintance pluses, people I got real love for that I can recognize immediately. I know a lot about them. I give them love. Then there's friends, you know, that I don't get to spend time with. So this is pretty fun to do this on the 18th with the two of you, because you guys fit in the category of my New Year's resolution. Though I'm saying that for fun. It's a life resolution, which is I need to find more capacity for more hours for friends. And I'm happy to be here with you guys tonight. And I hope that little rant maybe inspired someone to text someone they've been wanting to get drinks with actually, and maybe pull it off next week.
You know, I saw that there was a couple comments or some notes in the Discord that were like, how do you get these guests? And, you know, I didn't respond, but you know, what I would say to this audience is like, you know, it's 20 years of work, right? And it's like, you and I have crossed paths so many times over the years. And it was a hello, it was a nod, it was a collaboration, it was something with Snoop. Like we've gotten in the mix and gotten to know each other and become genuine friends. And when the time comes, and you lean into people and you ask them, hey, can you appear? Can you make this? It's really purely out of friendship. So that's why I think what you just said really resonated with me. I was going to say that anyway. So thank you for joining me.
I'm so glad you said that, because I was petrified. We talked the other night, and you know, I thought you said we're going to say that the people in the community were going to say, why doesn't GaryVee have any vintage NFTs yet? And as you started talking, my heart dropped, because like, fuck. You know, because I did something about a year ago, which is like created a totally separate laptop and hard wallet for purchasing, and there's so much friction in that because it's like, you know, like locked up and this and that, and so it's not in my face the way it was a year ago when it was in my laptop and in a hot wallet and things of that nature. So thank God you were saying something sweet, but I still have to be loud and accountable. Don't worry, crew. Like, it's very hard. You know, I always say bet on the jockeys. Like most of what I invested in, you know, World of Women or Women in Weapons, or you know, like definitely Moonbirds. There's only 2 categories for me. I either subjectively love the art, back to Women in Weapons, or I completely believe in the operator, like Moonbirds. And so for me, you two being teamed up on this, I haven't, you know, and I've been transparent with you the 3 times we've talked about this, like I'm in this crazy cocoon right now. I'm gonna get out of it because we launched VeeFriends.com yesterday, the new website. We've got 2 big tech launches here, but like, I really, like, I'm actually gonna try to hang up here. Dustin's here filming in case we get content out of this. I'm gonna try to get him to force me to, like, do what I have to do here. So, Vintage community, don't worry, I'm coming on board. And it's like, I have no, you know, I'm done with the whole, like, nobody buy it because I'm buying it. That speculation and, you know, gold rush days are over. I'm doing it because of what I've always done, which is like, I find it hard to not believe in the two of you. And I'm aware that you guys have lots going on and you may, you know, get sidetracked and do other things, but like, A, I wanna support you because that's important to me because you guys are friends, and B, you know, you guys are 2 real people. Like, you do think business, actually. This is not hyperbole. You don't play one on Instagram. And so that gives me confidence. It's ultimately why I think VeeFriends will be the most successful project. I'm aware consciously that they're absolutely, and you look at the incredible work of Bored Ape and others, Luca, what he's doing, Pudge Penguins, like, there's people doing it. Like, I may not build the best project in the next 25 years, but I'm gonna be in the fucking mix because that's the story of my 25-year career.
Man, I appreciate it, and it resonates because the goal here is not to have, the objective isn't like, hey Gary, go get a Mince Fest. The goal here is like, we just want to vibe and talk and share. We want to show to the world that we're building something that's slow and steady. We set out to build a small community, and by small, 1,000 is actually quite big, but we didn't set out to build something too big. We wanted to build something that we could really kind of connect with and prove that Sean and I are what we're thinking about, how it applies to vintage clothing and collectibles. So, you know, for us, like, again, it's just about showing improvement. So I love that.
You know, it's so cool. Everyone talks about like gifts and curses and timing. You two are so fortunate. You're not fortunate that you didn't launch it 15 months ago when, you know, it would have went for $1 trillion and all that. You are fortunate that there's a lot of baggage that came along with that gold rush. I feel it daily. Like, you know, the people that bought day one, cool, but like after, you know, depending on what timing was, you know, it's underwater, and like for me, it's a 50-year project, and so like you feel the pressure, even for people that are gracious, forget about the people that are loud about it. For you, like, there's a big part of me that thinks this is an incredible time for real people to launch a project. There's so much upside. Everything is so priced in a calm on its merit, not the hysteria of the flip. And I think for real operators, look, there's never a bad time to launch a good business, and there's never a good time to launch a bad business. Right? So like, yes, I'm aware when I launched VeeFriends, and I'm aware with like the trials and tribulations of the chaos of the last 15 months, but like, year 13, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Same now. If you suck and you launch in this calm market, good news, it's still gonna suck. But on the flip side, if you're good, to be able to launch right now is a fucking blessing, because it doesn't come with any of the hyperbole of a gold rush, and you can just kind of build.
Yeah, no, we feel it. I mean, I think we're thinking about the application of the software. We're thinking about the NFT. We're thinking about the asset, the collectible, but we're just really thinking about how does it amplify our lives? How does someone like Sean, who's an icon and a vintage connoisseur and a creative, think about it in terms of, you know, wearables? How can I apply it to music and artists? So these are the types of questions that we have time, and it's a little quieter, we can confront, and we can, you know, work with some of these amazing development teams like Non-Fungible Labs and things like that.
Hey Sean, by the way, real quick, Sean, are you around May 18th to the 20th? I spent the entire day today on VCon speaking, casting, and we're going crazy this year.
100%.
Okay, great. So,
100%.
Dustin, can you make that? Brother, it's really gonna be cool. Obviously last year, Nick and Snoop and Champ, along with Pharrell and even others, brought a lot of the flavor, but this year I'm going more culture, business. Like I'm trying to bring as many CMOs and CEOs so people can learn business and marketing at the highest levels. And I want cool, and I find you at the tippy top of cool, fashion. Like the people that confirmed today were bananas, and I'm excited to have you there.
Hell yeah, no, thanks. I appreciate that. I'm really stoked. So that'll be dope for sure.
Cool.
And kind of like you said, it's funny hearing you talk about making time for friends this year, because I've always been so envious of my friends who are great friends. I just have to call out one person, my homie Itai. He's probably one of the best just friends in general to anyone that I've ever met. and I would always find myself referencing him, and I'm like, wow, it's incredible how he makes time for everyone in his life. Like, I've never met someone like that who just like always has time for you.
You know what's cool?
Really,
I'm sorry.
It's so special. So I'm like, man, this year.
I'm sorry to interrupt or jump in here. Like, that's so insane to me, because one of my best friends that I think is like a great friend is Eitan. Yours is Itai, right?
Wow.
Eitan Sugarman, big roses to you, brother. A lot of people know who you are in the New York scene over the last 25 years. Talk about like the definition of a friend.
Yep, love that. No, it's cool. I mean, it was cool hearing you focus on that this year, because that's like my big focus. So it's like, you know, time for friends. But luckily, all my friends do cool stuff, so I think it'll be a fun year. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Good friends and VeeFriends.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gary, I want to ask you a really basic, because I got a bunch of questions, but I want to ask you something super basic, because there's probably 0.0001% of people on here who don't know you at this point, you know, because I think a lot are really tech savvy, tech forward, NFT, whatever. But for that 0.001, I just want to, because to me you're prolific, but who is GaryVee?
You know, I'm a really very simple dude, believe it or not. For all the chaos and all that stuff, like, I'm an entrepreneur who's an immigrant, first generation, born in the Soviet Union, right? Who like came over and like did his family proud, right? Like walked into the family merchant liquor store business and changed the course of the entire family's life. And then at 34, one of the reasons I push patience on every kid on social media is, you know, I spent the first 12 years of my career 7 days a week in a liquor store, not 9 to 5, you know, 7 to 10 p.m., open and close the store for a decade, Saturday included. I would get Sundays during the football season, not a lot of Sundays during not the football season. And, you know, and I never made $100,000 from 22 to 34. And, you know, like, that's hard. And like, you know, like, and so it's just like so big that I know it's true. Like, I know it's true that if you do the right things and if you have the talent, you're gonna end up there. And so I think I'm just a very cliche, not too crazy, out of the ordinary immigrant entrepreneur story that valued family over themselves first. But I think what's unique about me, and that's only because the internet was around. You know, had I been in the 50s and 40s and 60s, I just kind of I probably would have 35 wine stores right now, right? And I'd probably be maybe 50-50 partners with my dad. Probably not, but I would inherit it, right? But with the internet, I was able to speed up my course. Plus I had an 11-year younger brother who I wanted to be in business with. That forced my hand a lot. And then I think I'm a guy who like really likes to see other people win. Things are getting clearer for me of like how I'm wired. Like, Nick, you know this. Sean, you even know this by the way our relationships have formed. And a lot of people here know this. Like, I really want people to fucking win. I really want it. Like, why? Because I'm so fucking great. Nobody's taken from me. I see the fucking, one of the great iconic legends of all time is here, Snoop. All of Snoop's winnings, right? All of your winnings, Nick. All of Sean's winnings. I'm just gonna keep, all of Sammy and Jake and Vicky J. Like, everyone's winnings don't come from me. I'm gonna get mine. So like, you know, if you're great, you should only be cheering for people. There's no time for envy. There's no time for jealousy. There's no time for gossiping at dinner, tearing down somebody that's winning. I'm cheering for Maverick Carter. I'm cheering for like everybody. I'm cheering for fuckers in my own industry, other ad agency. If they're good enough, they're good enough. Hawk Media, good, win. Like, I'm cheering for people because nobody's taking a penny or a smile out of my pocket. And so that's who the fuck I am.
Did that come from age? Did that come from age?
No.
From success in age?
Nope.
No, okay.
Sure didn't. I wouldn't have, if I wasn't that person, I would have never built something for my dad. Parents and siblings aren't off, you know, aren't hands off from this stuff. They're not exempt. If you envy your brother and sister most. If you envy, you envy your sibling, your partner, your spouse, your parents most. This is how I was born from the womb, from the dirt of Belarus. This is who the fuck I was. And then I was formed and molded by my mother, who's the same person. So I had the luxury of the double down. For a lot of people here, they're gonna understand the double down. A lot of us have the DNA of one of our parents, and then that parent is the most impactful parent to us. Others, we have the DNA of the other parent, and they're not the one that kind of did the hardcore parenting. So I had the DNA of my mom, and then I had her parent it, so I just became like the 2.0 version of her.
So, you know what's interesting? So the reason I asked if it came with age is that I spent my early career in music, right? Coming up in the music game, and in particular around hip hop artists, right? And there was a when we were young, there was a level of competition.
Yes.
And it was very, very selfish.
Nick,
drove
Nick,
a ton of success.
Nick.
Yeah.
Nobody's more competitive than me. On this call, I've already said that VeeFriends has to be the #1 NFT project of all time.
Right.
To your point, this is where people struggle, and I love that you said that. I used to cry until I was 17 anytime I lost in anything. My brother once beat me in NHL 94 and I punched a hole in his bedroom wall. Like, I'm plenty competitive. I'm actually, I just did a podcast where I said it's my darkest part. I'm dark when it comes to competitiveness. But I don't think people understand that you can carry two opposite feelings at the same time and they can coexist. This is where everyone gets fucked up. I'm competitive and cheering for everyone. I'm the most hungry and ambitious, and I'm patient as fuck. The fucking superpower comes from the balance of the opposite feelings.
I get it. No, it makes so much, one thing I have noticed though is as we've all gotten older, at least, you know, a lot of the icons that I've worked with, whatever, there's this sort of celebration now, and there's this sense of like, there's this real sense of love, and I just watching it unfold right now has been really inspiring.
I think it's cliche that once you scratch your itch, then you are good. What I'm trying to get the kids on here to understand is when you're 20 and you want to be a supermodel or an athlete or the best entrepreneur, you want to be the next generation of the people on this call, like, you know, it's then. If you're smart enough to be gracious and happy for others and be the bigger person, the depths of those relationships will be greater. Nick, think about all the icons in music that are now giving each other roses, but they were fucking competing with each other because they thought the world was scarce. Think about how more beautiful their relationships would be today, and think about this one's gonna hit for you. Think about all the missed nights. All those concerts, all those jingle balls, all those fucking BET awards, all those nights where people could have chopped up, shared bread, fucking been family instead of fucking hating on each other. They missed those 700 nights.
Yeah, no, I think about it all the time. I really think about it, and I think about it, you know, it's something that if you can instill that in people at a young age now, exactly. You know, it changes the whole dialogue, man. So 100%. I 100% agree with you, man, and it's warm to hear. So I want to ask you another question. You are known as a collector. I see you collect. You've inspired me to collect. I think it's probably how you got to know Sean, some of the other super icons. You know, at heart, like what was the first thing you collected? Like, how did you get into it? Because I think that story is amazing for our audience.
Baseball cards, 1984. So I was 9. Don Mattingly was Yankees first baseman. He was my hero, and then I, like, you know, we were like, you know, you could tell the story and nobody believes you, but like we were poor, like we didn't get shit. Like I didn't even know shit existed. You know, I guess a little bit like, you know, like it was just this kid, Eric Conrad. By the way, Eric Conrad, if anybody can find Eric Conrad, I think his mom lived in Florida, his dad lived in Jersey, in Edison, New Jersey, in Dogwood Meadows, and he would visit for the summer. And so like I've lost touch with him like since 1987, but if you're out there, Eric Conrad, with a dad and mom that were divorced and dad was in Edison, New Jersey, I'd love to chop it up. Like I literally haven't talked to him since 1987, but from 84 to 87, we used to go into his basement and we would make card houses out of decks of cards. Like literally, for like 3 hours, and then we'd go play wiffle ball and basketball. And it was the first time I built card houses. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like you take a deck of cards and try to build a fort or like a castle. And then one day, we like ran out of cards and he was like, stay right here. And he ran upstairs and he came down and he had baseball cards to add to our playing cards. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And I was already crazy about the Jets and the Yankees. And that was it. It was sports cards. And what's really unique is I've never told that story. It was because I was building card houses out of playing cards, and Eric Conrad went upstairs and brought down baseball cards. That made me realize they existed, And within 13 seconds, I'm like, I need a Don Mattingly baseball card. And then I'd take my bike or walk to Krauser's, which was like a 7-Eleven in Jersey. And then my eye noticed that at the counter there was baseball cards. And that's why I had to do lemonade stands, because I needed the money to buy baseball cards. Because that's the beauty of how I grew up. Like, my mom was not buying that shit for us. Money was for food and clothes and shelter. And so I learned how to get mine early.
And then it's almost like a couple things. When the Don Mattingly thing resonates, I'm from the same era, right? So to this day, that still hits home. The Eric Conrad, there was an Eric Conrad who was a club promoter in the 90s in New York. I don't think it's the same Eric Conrad, but I've had my own Eric Conrad in my life. So there's a chance that...
Was Eric Conrad's, wait a minute, did Eric Conrad's, were they divorced, his parents?
I don't know, I didn't know his parents. He was doing parties around New York City.
Man, that'd be so crazy. All right, cool.
I'll look into it. I'll see if it's the same one. So when you're buying the baseball cards, was the motivation at that point? Did it turn into like a financial thing? Was it about making money, or was it about the kind of the spirit of the collecting, or did you just love baseball?
I love baseball. I love Don Mattingly, and then 2 years later, there was the baseball card club in 6th grade. Remember, this is pre-internet, kids, so there was no information out there for us kids, and I went to the baseball card club in 6th grade. And then I saw a price guide for the first time. Think about young Gary seeing a price guide for the first time. It'd be like fucking God seeing the Bible. Like, I was like, da-da-da. I'm like, this shit's worth money? It was fucking over. Like,
yo, I remember those, Gary. It was like the sports card almanac, right? It was like a paperback,
yeah.
Like a Scrabble dictionary kind of.
Well, that was the big one that came once a year, but before Beckett, okay. There was this like there was like a non-color printed baseball card guide that would have like one primary color on the cover, but everything was black and white. And that was the first one. I think some people will tweet it out because it was pretty prominent. I'm just blanking because I've never really Googled back to try to get the name. And then like a year later, Beckett came out, and by 1988, Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card, it was over. It took over the culture.
That's what got me into all of it. I mean, that was my entry to this entire world as well.
Same.
Baseball cards, dude. Like, my stepdad at the time was like diehard, sports fanatic. So it, started to wash onto me. And dude, I just started getting into the baseball cards. And that was that moment that you speak about. Like, when I had that like almanac of the sports card prices, it was like a price guide. It was crazy to me because I would buy a pack of cards for $1. And then I remember I would go through the book and I would look up the value of each one. And some of them would be like 75 cents or like 60 cents or like 15 cents or 10 cents. But I was like, wow, every pack is always worth more than $1.
Right.
And that's like where it really showed me.
But
I would start going into like collector's corner.
That's right.
And I'd be like, hey, I have this one where I think it's worth $3, and the guy would give me like 60 cents. And then I would end up getting like $1.20 credit, and I would get a new pack of cards. It was so sick, and this was so early on, dude.
And what you also learned, because I'm gonna have to run here soon for the dinner, but I want everybody to hear this. Me too. I want everyone to hear this very slow, because this will help with NFTs, this will help with streetwear, this will help with everything. You saw and I saw, wait a minute, I bought a pack for 35 cents, because remember, this is OG land, right? And oh my God, it all adds up to like 59 cents. What you didn't know and I didn't know then was nobody really wanted the 10-cent cards. So there was no demand against that perceived value. Number two, what you also knew was Mike Greenwell was hot his rookie year and it went up to $2. But the next year he slumped, and the year after that he wasn't that good. And Greenwell was a little bit better than that, but I'm just play with me here. His rookie year, it was worth $2. But 12 months later, wait a minute, I thought cards were supposed to go up. Why is this 80 cents now? Oh, wait a minute, that's demand. People don't think he's gonna be as good as Wade Boggs or Ted Williams. And so the things we learned in that era, of course we were gonna be unstoppable later. Of course you were destined to understand supply and demand and collectability. Of course I was gonna be able to explode my dad's wine business because people collected wine. By the time I was 18, I was a fucking master. I was spending 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, focused only on understanding why cards went up and why they didn't. Why Ken Griffey did, why they didn't. Why Frank Thomas did, and they didn't. Wait a minute, why are Michael Jordan cards going up? Wait a minute, he's more popular than the game. He's in that Spike Lee commercial. He's on the Wheaties box. Oh, that's why. People just like him. That's called demand. Like, you start learning.
both of you guys, your careers have essentially been inspired and are very linked to this early collecting and trading baseball card thing. Is incredible because what your careers have become. I think a piece of content we have to shoot 100% would be Gary picking vintage clothes with Sean.
100%. I'm in, bro. Listen, the vintage clothes thing, you guys don't even know. I wish AJ was on here right now. In 1998, when we were all about that eBay life, we were buying fucking like Iron Maiden t-shirts for 25 cents and selling them for 40 bucks. This is where I always laugh when people think I just pop onto something. I made a mocktails video the other day. And somebody wrote a comment of like, well, this trend's over, now GaryVee's here. I'm like, my man, I've been here for 6 years. Just because I'm not talking about it doesn't mean I'm not paying attention. I bought ETH in 15. For me, like the vintage clothes thing, like I've been going to, thrift stores and garage sales buying, t-shirts for 20 years. By the way, I don't rock them. That's not my fashion style. I'm not that cool. I'm not as cool as everybody on this call. But I'm aware of what the currency is. Like I understood what it meant. Before there was eBay in 1994, I was buying Happy Days board games and Ronald McDonald plush toys. I didn't even know that they were worth anything. There was no eBay. I just knew nostalgia and pop culture and memories were the fucking game. VeeFriends is not a random thought because I saw an opportunity. VeeFriends is a culmination of 40 years of thinking.
I love that line of, just because I'm not talking about it doesn't mean I'm not paying attention. And I think I can really resonate with that as well.
Especially for me, Sean, especially for me right now, I apologize for interrupting. I just want to get as much out for everybody. Especially for me right now, because the second I say shit, people are speculating. I've got to be more quiet than ever now.
Yep.
It's incredible, man. I want to see that vintage collection. I think that might be the inspiration for us to do a little.
Oh, the vintage collection's long gone. I flipped that shit. I find a Bruce, like that was how AJ made money back then, right? Yeah. Because I wasn't rocking it, and because for me it was through the years. Then I lived in Manhattan. My parents they do like to hoard stuff, which means they don't want me to hoard stuff at their house. So there's all these different dynamics that led to a lot of stuff being sold. There was a flood. I don't even want to talk about it. Lost 10. Me and AJ nailed the video game thing crazy. We were buying Mike Tyson punch outs for 25 cents at garage sales in 2002, like it was our fucking job. So anyway, I gotta run. I apologize. I love everybody. I hope you have a great sesh.
I love you guys. Gary, I need one question before you go. I want to hear the thoughts on the future of digital fashion. That's it. What are you thinking about? You got any thoughts on that?
The world is about and. If something exists in analog, it's gonna exist in digital. So if fashion exists, digital fashion's gonna exist. Except the problem is 99% of things are not gonna work. 99% of projects is not gonna come through. But the macro, yes.
Right. Okay, got it, man. Well, listen, I know we're gonna stay on here. We're gonna keep chopping it up about what we're doing at Ninjas. But Gary, I
love you, brother.
So much. We're working on something, by the way. Little double G stuff. We'll talk about that later.
Love it. Love everybody. See ya.
Peace, Gary.
Peace.